Last night, a video blew up online of Hasan allegedly using a shock collar on his dog.
Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
Many online immediately posted about this, like Ethan Klein, who went on his Instagram story and accused Hasan of animal abuse. And he and others also began posting evidence of Kaya's collar, showing what appears to be a green flashing light, indicating that it's a shock collar. However, Hasan himself denies these allegations, saying he assumes she must have stepped funny or clipped her paw on something, causing her to yelp. Anisa Joma also came to defend Hasan on Twitter and go after Ethan Klein, accusing him of being a bad dog owner. Along with this, Hasan's fans and subreddit argued that it's not a shock collar, but rather an AirTag collar, and that people are believing things with no evidence. I'll show you the clips and all of the internet's reactions and let you be the judge. Welcome to the internet versus Hasan's shock collar incident. It starts when Ignignoct posts on the livestream fail subreddit, Hasan reaching for something and seemingly shocking his dog to keep her in camera view.
But it is emblematic of all of America's much more consequential violence. Okay, it's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby. It's just, you're making her stressed. She just literally is so incredibly spoiled from my mom.
And then Cum Guzzler replies, your mom spoils her because she lets her stand up. Hamilton says, imagine letting your dog walk around the house. Anarchy. And Simple Champ says, my dog ran once. It was heartbreaking, but I had to put her down. What choice did I have? If I let that stand, next thing you know, she'd be wanting to chase squirrels and play fetch. Unacceptable. Poland replies, they are permanently banning people now for talking about it. Losers. Nimviven says, yup, I'm a regular in his chat and got permabanned for asking about this clip. And Filthbot says, Hasan, I have no control over my chat, Ethan, Piker's mods when any substantial criticism comes up. Ekodal says, why is he triggered at his dog just walking around? And Technoprimitive replies, look at how carefully manufactured that room is. His dog is just another one of his props. And my account was shut for Norsen says, poor dog actually looks at him in fear twice, thinking about leaving, but knows what'll happen. Then it does happen. Animal, not ornament. Cheesy Braun says, what the fuck is wrong with him? And Zavehai replies, Hasan is actively a terrible person constantly. This isn't even that shocking. And Shippy Dota says, the dog would like a word with you. Over on Twitter, Nyla screenshots the livestream fail thread and captions it by saying, he doesn't use a shock collar by the way, but alas, the brigade has begun, Lamau. The two posts of these lies and their like ratios in literal minutes of posting. Attaching the post by Ignignoct that we looked at, showing 3.6k likes down here in 46 minutes. And this other post by Josh Joshson 53 minutes ago, and this is 5.2k likes. Mischa says, people have no critical thinking skills and just believe everything they see. Hasan literally said when a chatter came in and asked, he repeated yet again he doesn't use a shock collar. She absolutely does move around, as she's just been spoiled by his mom and has ignored training. Nicandros tweets out, highly amused by the notion that Hasan Piker would have a bespoke button installed into his desk to abuse his dog. Bzz, 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 bzz. Bzz. Peace says in our members only Discord, I can tell you the dog got shocked. He views the dog as nothing more than a prop. He stated that the dog is a spoiled baby for wanting to roam around the house. And Pyrotrain Thing also says in our members only Discord, it's definitely a shock collar. There's a clip where Kaya is leaving the room and Hasan pauses mid-sentence to look at Kaya and she returns to her bed that's shoved in a corner next to posters. Anyone who thinks their pet shouldn't wander around a house and has to be on camera or near the owner for whatever reason should not be allowed to own pets. I despise this St. Peter's baby. Also, if you want to join our public Discord, it's linked in the description, and tier 2 and higher members to the channel get access to upcoming topics and can potentially weigh in for future videos. But back to the video. Over on H3 Productions, Everyone Calls Me York also posts the clip with the caption, is Hasan shocking his show dog to keep her in camera view? Please someone tell me that there's a better way to interpret this clip a friend just sent me. And Baked Barista replies, I've always hated how often he yells at her to stay in her place. That sweet large animal needs to be able to roam and stretch and play. This 100% looks like she yelped from a shock collar. And Soulbots replies, does he really force her to stay in the background during his entire stream? Surely he or someone has to take her out to go potty at least. And Baked Barista says, I've never watched an entire stream because I don't hate myself, but she's there in most of the clips I see. Ahoy Captain says, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I thought before watching this that, okay, this is too far, this is some snark shit, and then actually watched the clip. I am trying to be charitable here, but that was fucked. Even his own chat saw how fucked that was. And Proburst replies, I had the same line of thought. Nah, this is fake. Turn to, oh my god, within 20 seconds. And Sweet Jesus Nipples replies, the fact that his first knee-jerk reaction before anything else was to shock her shows how often and normal it probably is for him to shock her on a regular basis for minor things like this. He slept up and did it on screen. Your boy Higgins says, I feel like there has to be some missing context here, like she's supposed to be recovering from an injury or something. And Shubis for 2069 replies, no way. It's easier for the narrative if we can paint Hasan as some over-the-top cartoonishly evil villain. That's what this sub is for. And Rusty Tetanus Spork replies, he is a piece of shit at that tier. Bro is literally friends with terrorists. Yeet also tweets out the clip with the caption, Hasan's dog Akaya yelps after he appeared to reach for something while telling her to get back in place. And Frank Hassel replies, imagine what happens off camera. Sensitive Society says, what a piece of shit he is. I knew he was bad, but doing this to a dog because it wasn't staying still? He's not a fucking prop, that's a dog, you retard, at Hasan. Me says, dude is electrocuting his dog. Big Tone says, you don't understand. Destiny and Ethan Klein make me shock color my dog to make sure she stays in frame of my Twitch streams at all times. Viva Frey says, if I had to guess, I would say the reaction of a shock collar. I think you can even see Hasan reaching for something, which I suspect was the shocker right before the dog yelps. Laura Loomer replies to Yeet by saying, you can tell a lot by a person by watching how they treat animals. You are a bad person, Hasan. Chris the Narc quote tweets Yeet by saying, welcome back, Kiro the Wolf. Tectone quote tweets Yeet and says, disgusting fucking F-slur. Using your dog as a prop. Shocking him to stay in place. What an absolute scumfuck piece of shit. Has the setting up so high that the dog fucking cries. Hasan gets worse every day. He'll say this is out of context, he'll get away with it again, and worst of all, Twitch will once again do nothing. And Base Takes replies, not defending him, I hate the guy. I don't know any history of the dog, but this clip looks like normal spot training to me. I've had all my dogs professionally trained and this is what we were taught to do. And Tectone replies, my dog was also professionally trained. A shock collar should feel like a gentle to firm touch. Not a setting so high that it fucking screams. Do not make excuses for this. And Base Takes replies, I don't know. My trainer said they will yelp if it startles them. It's like a TENS unit. It doesn't actually cause them harm unless you are doing a continuous push, and then that's abuse. But if I haven't corrected my dogs in a while and I do it, it startles them and they yelp. Madam Savvy quote tweets the clip and says, excuse me, what? He has the setting way too high if she yelps like that for the shock collar. But what this does is prove he keeps the dog on screen as a prop. She isn't even allowed to come say hi or move around. Not allowed to roam the house. Why? Is she so poorly trained she gets into things? Given the fact that she immediately retreats back to place setting, that tells me no, she is quite well trained, but it seems out of fear. Hasan, if you aren't going to take care of your dog or if she is such a burden to you, I will happily take her and give her the freedom she deserves. It's a Gundam replies, if that dog has a shock collar on, this might be the one thing that wakes his fanbase up to the selfish prick he is. Los Pollos quotes Yeet and says, fuck you, Hasan. Shock collaring that innocent dog for no reason just because he wants to walk around? That's not a fucking prop for your stream background. That's a living being. You're a sick fuck. Edward replies, bro zapped the poor dog, no hezzy, live in front of 40k because it wanted to stretch its legs. He definitely does worse off camera. And Lo says, fucking disgusting. Joseph replies with this meme, where it's a soy jack saying, please father, I need to get up and walk out of frame. It's been 6 hours of you screaming next to me and stressing me out. And then Hasan clicking the shock collar button. Jay says, shock collar shortcut on the Elgato is insanity. Laura Loomer also quote tweets Yeet by saying, just when I thought I couldn't hate Hasan more than I already do, this piece of shit shocked his innocent dog while on livestream. No surprise given how Muslims treat dogs. How come Twitch is allowing animal abuse on the platform? This is really abusive behavior. His dog should be taken away from him. And Johan replies, I'm no expert, but I think you're confusing shock with excitement. And also maybe Muslims with Hasan's questionable life choices. Either way, his pup seems fine, so let's not get too worked up. Laura Loomer also then tweets out a petition for me to adopt Hasan Piker's dog. Or maybe I should just come rescue that dog. Girl Girl with a Microphone also screenshots Yeet's post by saying, imagine for 1 second if that it was Ethan on stream. We actually don't have to imagine. We know how y'all reacted to the Giardia lie, which was completely manufactured by Bad and Banata. You don't have a leg to stand on here. And Windrider says, the fuck? Once again, Ethan is the first person to say that his household contracted Giardia. It started with him. He said it with his whole chest live on his show. What do you have to say about that? And Girl with a Microphone replies that he took his entire family to the doctor, got the facts, and updated everyone live the very next day. And y'all just keep saying this is stupid shit? Rev says Desu quote tweets Yeet by saying, it's sad that Hasan had to be caught in 4K abusing his dog for a sect of people to finally recognize this man for what he is. Drew Pavlo also tweets out the clip with the caption, Hasan Piker screamed at his dog and applied a shock collar to her because she got up to stretch while he screamed, I fucking hate this country so much. You cannot even make this up as a satire. He lives in a $3 million mansion in Hollywood. Just the absolute epitome of a spoiled brat leftist. It's like Mugado and Zoolander throwing scalding hot coffee on his assistant because he got the wrong order. Destiny tweets out, first there was K911, now Dogtober 7th. And he also tweets out this picture of Hasan saying, judge me by my enemies, and a picture of Kaya. Yeet also tweets out this clip from Nick DeOrio with the caption, Nick DeOrio drops a warning about incoming Hasan fan obfuscation.
Reddit by the LSF mods. He's treating his dog like a Funko Pop. Oh god, dude. Oh god. And I'm remember who was the e-girl who spent like fucking $3,000 on Funko Pops of some guy's money or something? Or like their entire backdrop was like Funko Pop. I don't remember. He's treating his dog like a Funko Pop on a shelf, just something to be in the background of his streams. Stay on your 2-foot by 4-foot mat. Do not move for 8 hours or I will shock you. Apparently the dog does leave the mat sometimes. And that's like an okay thing. I don't okay, cool. So be careful saying that for 8 hours the dog sits there, because an asshole annoying like subhuman freak on Twitter will be like, actually the dog sits there for 6 hours 42 minutes and 35 seconds a stream on average. I watch every Hasan stream and I know exactly what I'm talking about. You're a fucking defamation artist or something. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Some like absolute subhuman wretch is gonna come try to correct you.
Yeet tweets out this clip with the caption, XQC puts on his commentator hat and does a play-by-play slow-mo of the Hasan Kaya clip. Thinks there's a 98% chance it's a shock collar.
I'm not even gonna be a hater. I'm giving it a fair chance.
Hasan the soy boy.
Just
Hand over.
fuck.
A better press. Still moving. Now goes forward. I'm assuming probably has let's say a Steam Deck, right? Hand forward. Now that was his arm forward. Now his hand going forward probably. See, a little bit more.
Go.
Bang! It would be in the next 3 frames. Chat. The
I
likeliness.
might have wasted $5.
Chad, the likeliness of this being is like 98%. I'm not being weird. You see the arm movement, right? Looking. No more arm movement now. And a little bit more. Tiny bit more. A little bit more. Now it stops now. Guys, 99%. 99%.
Huge news for the unemployed.
Just stop.
But if not, I will take it all back because
Jesus Christ, what are you?
they would be weird to accuse somebody like that. I'm just going with different people saying. People are saying hey, his dog has a shock collar. I think that's not okay, and it's kind of crazy. So I was more than to say no way he has that because he's usually a sensible guy. But it looks pretty likely. I'm thinking 99%.
And Michael replies, dogs don't just yelp for no reason. Anyone have John Wick's number? Ethan Klein then responds with Yeet tweeting out with a caption, Ethan Klein calls out Hasan for the Kaya clip. And it's Ethan posting the clip on his story with the caption, horrifying animal cruelty caught on camera by Hasan as he activates her shock collar for one tiny step off of her bed. She cries in pain, poor baby. I always thought it was extremely bizarre that his young energetic puppy never took a step off her bed. This has to be the result of some brutally strict training. Ethan also posts this on his Hasan's Instagram story with the caption, "This is deeply psychopathic behavior, exerting this level of control over a meek animal, and then turning his anger on her for crying out in pain. Very disturbing." Ethan also posted this saying old clip of Hasan admitting he owns a shock collar because he will try to deny this, obviously. And there's a clip attached. Here's that clip.
Jordan.
My old roommate wanted to use a shock collar for fish and his dogs. For fish and his dogs barking. I couldn't do it. I have it still. I bought it. They are incredibly effective, but I couldn't do it.
Ethan also posts on Threads by saying, "Disturbing and sad. Hasan caught shocking his poor dog Kaya on stream. She stepped 1 foot out of her 1x1 foot bed and invoked his wrath. First, he shocked her, then got mad at her for yelping in pain. I always wondered how and why Kaya stayed in such a tiny space for the entire duration of Hasan's daily 9-hour stream, but now we know the answer. She was being abused. All for Hasan's vanity project of keeping her in frame like another prop in his set." Over on LeftoversH3, Raziar posted these screenshots with the caption, "What is Ethan even talking about with Kaya?" And Mike replies, "The LSF thread on this is going to surpass the one of Asmongold saying 85% of the country shouldn't be able to vote. That sub is absolutely fried. They know this is ridiculous bullshit. In the same way right-wingers know their cries about leftists inciting violence is BS. It doesn't matter. They have an agenda. Reminds me of a thread back in 2021. The first time I saw hate threads about Hasan, where they complained about him paying for this friend's dinner, said he was flexing his wealth a few months after criticizing him for not wanting to pay for some event Ludwig did. And Living Chef replies, "Mythic truth versus factual truth. Oldest fash trick out there. A lot of people make the mistake of assuming other people care about objective truth just because we do. But nah, that's bullshit. All that matters is what helps us win. So what helps us win must be true, because the end goal is the ultimate truth. They love nothing more than to bait well-meaning leftists or libs into these kind of conversations. It gets them off." And Giant Rat Balls replies, "Dogs in their training are an easy medium because most people don't know a lick about behavioral psychology or the ethics of animal training." Own Trash says, "I genuinely wish the absolute worst for this lying sack of shit and his subhuman morons of a cult. They are the stupidest people on the planet. They must have something restricting oxygen to their brains." And Not Your Peach replies, "I mean, the Romulan Raider did say that both of them have brain lesions, so this is a very probable reality." And Mizoris replies, "Zionism. Not even once." Anisa Joma then posts Ethan's story and captions it by saying, "I'm a big dog advocate. Love training dogs with positive reinforcement, as you can tell with Merlin and Fiona on Ian's streams. I've met Kaya. I saw Kaya while Hasan was streaming. She never had a shock collar on. She was good at her place command, but that's very easily accomplished with positive reinforcement. I would be very, very surprised if this was actually Kaya reacting to a shock collar. Just because Ethan's a horrible dog owner and can't train his dogs worth shit doesn't mean other people are using shock collars." Marshall Outlaw replies with this screenshot in the caption, "Well, Ethan thinks it's appropriate to put a crown of thorns around his dog's neck," with a post from LeftoversH3 where someone says, "Why the prong collar?" screenshotting Olive, and Ethan replied saying, "Pronged collar is completely humane and has universal approval in the training world for big dogs. Chief weighs over 80 pounds. If he doesn't learn to not pull, he can seriously hurt someone. The reason we got it is because our trainer told us to. I don't know what you guys think it does. The edge is flat, not sharp. It just applies pressure so they know to stop pulling. When they aren't pulling, it feels the same as a regular collar. I would never do something that harms or hurts my dogs." Ethan then responds to Anisa by screenshotting her posts and captioning them by saying, "What a pathetic piece of shit stain of a human being to immediately handwave away animal abuse and instead try to turn it on my 4 loved dogs. Anisa will erase this tweet after more evidence of Hasan's animal abuse comes to light. CPS visiting my family. Anisa sleeps. Hasan caught abusing his dog on camera. I must defend my friend." And Anisa then screenshots this and posts on her page, "If you loved your dogs, you would teach them to stop shitting in the house." And Ethan screenshots this and posted on his story saying, "If you loved your husband, you would train him to stop shitting in his pants." Eat also compiles these posts and captions them by saying, "Ethan Klein responds to Anisa coming to Hasan's defense over the Kaya clip and calling Klein a horrible dog owner." And Flaccid Turkey Sausage replies with this clip in the caption, "Anisa was more intimate with that dog than she's ever been with iDubbbz." Anisa then tweets out, "Also Ethan Klein is a 5'7" at best. I repeat, Ethan is a 5'7" at best. The man claims he's 5'11", but he's my height. Why would he lie? Someone needs to look into this immediately. Whip out the tape measure live." And Penny Prince replies with this screenshot of an Anisa tweet where she says, "The last thing I will say on anything H3, and captions it by saying, "It was in fact not the last thing she would say on anything H3. Special Individual replies with this picture in the caption, huh? And on the left here, it is all 4 of them, Hila, Anisa, Idubbbz, and Ethan. And then they edited them out to show Anisa and Ethan next to each other, showing the height difference. Ethan then screenshots this and puts it on his story. To be honest, you need to be a super fan to even make this joke. Ethan also continues by putting an old Anisa post on his Instagram story with the caption, no wonder this psychopath is defending Hasan, and calling me a bad dog owner based on nothing. And it's Anisa saying, our Rottweiler broke a window and jumped outside while we were out filming something. When we came home, we realized what had happened. It was the scariest 10 minutes of our life. Thankfully though, someone put her in our backyard. Very, very relieved to know someone wasn't scared to approach her and knew where to put her. Ethan also puts this on his Instagram story, which is a Tom Ward post with the caption, you can tell she's terrified of him. And it's Tom Ward saying, people will look the other way on a lot of shit, but don't fuck with dogs. They're gonna come for ya. Watch out, Hasan, you vain piece of shit. He's treating his dog Kaya like she's a prop on the set who's supposed to lay still for 8 hours until he is done with his stream. She moves and he fucking shocks her on camera for everyone to see. Imagine what he's doing to that poor dog when the camera is off. Pink Hydrogen Gia posts this clip in the H3 Production subreddit. Guest says the dog's collar is too tight. Was he about to say it's a shock collar? It's a ...
And now it's mainstream. I love her. I think her collar's too tight.
Well, it's here we can.
It's you have to be able to get 2 fingers, and I couldn't even get one. I think you're choking her.
She's like, it's because she has a lot of neck meat.
Dangerous Trip says, it's a lot of neck meat. Okay, so loosen the collar. The fuck? And MPY Bound says, right? That's the whole point of measuring it that way. And Aware C says, right? And Somber Solace says, it's straight up a textbook narcissist / abuser verbiage. It's not that the collar is too tight. Her neck is just too fat. You see, it's her fault it's strangling her, not Hasan's. Thrandrill also posts the same clip on the LSF subreddit, but it was removed by a mod. And Nella replies with this picture in the caption, it's a lot of neck meat. And Outrageous Papaya replies, I actually felt uncomfortable watching that. You could see her thinking, WTF? View Marth says, it would be wild if after all the crazy shit, the thing that gets Hasan cancelled is his dog. And Florfree says, I wouldn't even be surprised. People don't play about dogs. And Russian Pravda replies, one golden rule of filmmaking is don't kill the dog. John Wick had to kill like 50 people to make up for that. And Greco-Roman replies, I think you're underselling that number, Chief. Yeet also posts this clip of a close-up of Kaya's collar.
In the same positive association with Israel. So all this does is breed resentment.
And Anon Bitcoin replies, Hasan forcing his dog to sit in bed for hours so she can be a background prop for his streams is wild. Night Kitten says, honestly, he should take the collar off and show it. If he refuses to do it, that's sus as hell. Ethan Klein also puts this on his Instagram story, and it's just a screenshot of the dog wearing the collar. And then at the bottom here, there is a listing online, what looks to be Walmart or Amazon, saying Pat Pet shock collar with remote for medium large dogs training. Over on Hasan Piker, Fawn posted these screenshots though with the caption, it is an AirTag collar. Go home. Your mother misses you. Attaching this screenshot of a close-up of the dog collar, and then this one with Kaya sitting on Hasan's lap, and then this other close-up as well, and then here is another close-up that they attach, and then here is a different picture zoomed in showing an AirTag collar. Here is another one that they attach to the post. They also attach this one on a smaller dog, and this more blurry picture, and finally this picture also showing an AirTag collar. Opie continues the post, putting the screenshot a lot of people are using and that we also looked at earlier with a flashing light, then also circling the same section saying, I'm actually going to lose my mind. This isn't a blinking plastic box. In the clearer, well-lit footage of the collar, you can clearly see it is the collar adjuster. Well, what about the blinking plastic box under the AirTag? Where? And Hush replies, I saw Ethan's picture that had a bright green light edited in. This is maybe the stupidest way they've attacked Hasan, but I'd have bet on something since for October 7th. Mindless Channel says, that AirTag is obviously wired with C4 and ready to blow at the press of a button. When will he face the consequences? And Zealous Ideal says, Kaya is Kamas? And Troy Abed in the Morning says, Kaya is living in her own battle royale. Sky Trash says, we still haven't ruled out the possibility that Hasan has electricity mind powers. And Fawn replies, clearly he's using the AirTag as a conductor for his superpowers so he can hurt Kaya. And Sky Trash says, that bastard. Wordbird says, y'all, I went over to LSF and I had no idea they were that crazy. They were literally doing forensic analysis to prove it's it's a shock collar. And then they move the goalpost and say Hasan is abusive because he yells, Kaya, place. They are sick in the head, bro, and also probably 75% bots. And Crazy Town Banana Pants says, what gets me is the idiots complaining that all he did was look at Kaya when he heard her yelp and unironically think not giving her cuddles in that moment is animal abuse. These people are so stupid. And Garfield 8 My Dad says, yeah, that sub is fucking insane. Reddit investigators are truly the most idiotic and unhinged people on earth. Hasan then responded to the situation when he tweets out this clip with the caption, Hasan denies using a shock collar on Kaya, says that she clipped herself on something.
To hear oral arguments on Thursday.
Oh my
we should
God.
Note that new CBS
Is there like a fucking LSF video or something? Is that why there's like hella people coming in here and screeching? Is that what's going on? Oh, classic. It started on D, then H3, then LSF is the classic pipeline. I'm gonna fucking die, dude. Yes, I am incredibly abusive to the not only best trained, but also the best behaving and most spoiled dog on the planet. Is from when Kaya yelped. Yeah, she yelped because she fucking clipped herself on something when she was getting off the bed.
And Tori replies to the clip by saying, okay, so he heard his dog get injured, didn't seem alarmed, and didn't check on her to make sure she was okay, and instead called her a baby and spoiled. And Clockwise replies, this is the right take. The collar being a shock collar will be debated endlessly with no real way to prove it. The response, or lack thereof, to his dog hurting themselves, even in his retelling, is still bad. And Tori replies, every time our dog yelps, we go and check her and do a baby voice to make her feel better, even if it's something silly or dramatic. And Clockwise replies, literally, that's like the standard. Atuka says, the allegation is still alleged, but I mean, there's nothing on her bed for her to clip herself. So just a silly argument. Also doesn't explain why he allegedly looks like he was reaching for something, IMO. Attaching this screenshot from the clip of Kaya on the bed, and then this screenshot of Hasan looking down as if he's reaching for something or just looking away. And Mark XRP says, my dog just happened to get hurt at the exact time I was yelling at it. Tectone also tweets out the clip we looked at earlier of Hasan talking about owning a shock collar and captions it by saying, here's Hasan admitting he owns a shock collar, since he once again looked his audience in the eyes and lied to your face. Again. Yet you will continue to suck the shit out of this man's ass when he doesn't give a damn about you, and sees you as a $sign. Froggy Tonic then screenshots this post by Tectone and responds by saying, John Rapist aka Tectone, known for abuse and using rape threats and bigotry to gain traction online, reposts a clip of Hasan Piker recounting his roommate's desire to use shock collars on their dogs. Hasan said that despite owning it, he, quote, couldn't do it. And Troublemaker replies, we literally see a clip of Hamas Piker using a shock collar on the highest setting on his dog. Fuck right off. And Froggy replies with this image in the caption, wow. Max Powers posts the clip on the LeftoversH3 subreddit with the caption, Hasan responding to the Kaya LSF post. And Thanks Tula says, so incredibly stupid that people think this, to be honest. He streams for 7+ hours almost every single day of the year, and this is the first ever time it's been on camera. Lamau, these people are so delusional it hurts my brain. And Salty Halty says, they're pretending to believe it. That sub bans people who criticize Destiny or defend Hasan. Then post these clips and everyone pretends to believe it to make it go viral. There is a massive oversupply of lies about Hasan, but really not that much demand. It goes viral amongst the same group of people who already hate Hasan. TPR says, this is pretty much becoming I can't prove there is a shock collar, but you can't prove there isn't ass statement. And Temporary Employee replies, yeah, why not go a step farther at this point? We don't know that Hasan doesn't put microscopic little pins covered in fire ant venom all around his floor. And Ursula Fox replies, I can confirm this. I am his fire ant venom dealer. Down to the Wire also posts a clip on the Livestream Fail subreddit with the caption, Hasan claims Kaya clipped herself on something while getting off the bed. Kaya was nowhere near something that she could clip herself on. Psionic Fee says, is he still alive? Just go take the collar off and show that it's not a shock collar. And Photograph Unable replies with this image of Kaya laying down from the clip and then captions it by saying, he let her out of the room. So if he brings her back and shows us a different collar, and Dopa Down Syndrome replies, had to take this screenshot earlier because some regard thought she wasn't wearing a collar at all, and instead she clipped her paw on something. I shit you not. Attaching the clip to a Livestream Fail subreddit, it, and then saying, the clip I got this from the other thread. He reached over and pressed something the moment she yelped. He 100% shocked her. And then there's this picture of Kaya. Throwaway because Doxer says if she clipped herself on something, why wouldn't he go check? Even Forsen had the decency to check when that rat got stuck on some tape. And Cho Justice replies, he also didn't see what happened, so to brush it off with an immediate excuse is weird as hell. And Zermis replies, it's because he's obviously lying on the spot. If your dog yelps in pain randomly, I'm definitely checking to see if they stepped on something or need help. But he just says how annoyed he is that his mom spoilers her, as if you shouldn't be spoiling a dog anyway. Edit, he's caught. The caller blinks here. Attaching this screenshot which shows no light on the left and then a light on the right saying the next frame. And just for context, this is from a different clip from about 3 months ago, but this is the image attached. Sandy Cheeks tweets out, what the fuck is going on? Why do people think Kaya has a shock collar? And Mike from PA replies, they are slandering Hasan. And EB replies with this clip in the caption, I had the same question and then I looked at the clip in slow motion and it looks like Kaya got her claw stuck on the canvas of her bed. Attaching this slow-mo clip.
Kaya, please just fucking go. Just stop.
Ethan Klein parody account replies by saying, if your dog yelped like that, would you call them a baby and spoiled? Staring them down while complaining about how they simply got to roam the house earlier in the day? Be honest, EB Basement. Is this your true self saying these things? Free yourself. It's okay. It's time. And EB says, that's funny because IMO Hasan should have reacted differently when Kaya yelped. I'm vegan, so of course I have a strong disagreements with him in terms of how animals should be treated. I just don't see the point of spreading false rumors with no evidence. You'd also post this clip with the caption, Hasan continues to deny the Kaya shock collar allegations.
It's going viral that they're claiming that the most well-trained and the most spoiled, best kept after dog on the planet is actually being abused by me, apparently. Because I gave her the place command while she was getting off, and then she yelped. These chatters don't know she broke the other beds? Yeah. She'd broken the previous bed. Bro, that dog is being abused. 4-hour streams every day of Hasan. I can't imagine. Yeah. And I suspect it's coming from, you know, some crazy haters. They said you shocked her with a button. Yeah. In my evil villain lair. Good thing I didn't hit the fucking trapdoor button instead on accident. She reviewed food online. She yelped. No, she went when she was getting off the bed. Because I assume she like either stepped funny or clipped her fucking foot on something. I don't know.
And he also tweets out this clip with XQC with a caption, XQC says he doesn't understand why Hasan is trying to gaslight over what happened.
I don't know why, like, to me it's fascinating. Like, it's not that crazy. People have their own secrets, we have their own private lives, but to have something on in the middle of the camera to happen, and then to try to gaslight everybody and say that it's wrong when it's provable in live motion is, it's just dumb. I don't get it.
Nicandros also tweets out this clip with the caption, just to toss a piece into this Hasan dog discourse. In an August 10th, 2023 stream, Kaya jumps up at Hasan's mom off screen, and someone in the chat suggests getting a shock collar. Hasan says it's unnecessary, and his chat reacts by calling the person a psycho, and many others ask if shock collars are even legal. Would it make any sense for Hasan to use a shock collar on stream when he knows his audience reacts this way? Attaching this clip.
Literally saved their lives. And if you read it, Kaya, off. Down, Kaya. Sit.
Down, Kaya.
Kaya. Stay. Thanks, Mom. Damn, bro, your dog sucks. Take a week off for that. 27-month subscriber. Suck my dick. My dog is incredible. This is why shock collars are a thing. She's too far away to correct her behavior manually. She's not doing anything that bad. She's just jumping because she's excited to see my mom. And that's it. that doesn't mean that you can't remedy that situation. And you can certainly remedy that situation without a shock collar. What the fuck are you talking about? That is like, she's a 5-month-old dog. He's right, your dog's broken, get a new one? Okay, shut the fuck up. Bunch of freaks in here, dude.
Kingdom of Heaven replies, who cares what he says? Just watch the video over a couple of times. The dog doesn't clip, nick, hit itself on anything, so the logical explanation is he shocks her into submission. Marcus replies to the clip by saying, yeah, he totally couldn't have changed his mind over the past 2, almost 3 years. Osteoferocious says, I swear I'm not saying this in a snarky way and would like your actual view. What do you think could have caused her reaction besides the shock? Do you find the caught nail thing to be a more viable explanation? And get the fuck out bitch replies, stepping wrong on her dew claw when getting back on her bed. Give me your use replies to the clip by saying, it would make perfect sense for him to use one and to deny it. Carter says, I've seen almost this exact AirTag collar about 1,000 times. The light is just a reflection on the metal hook by the clip. I could be wrong. I've just never seen a shock collar AirTag combo with a tactical look like that. Attaching this collar, Sankla waterproof AirTag dog collar, and Pot replies, where's the big black box with a blinking green light with this collar? And OTDB says, it looks like an AirTag collar with a large palm buckle clip. There's no blinking green light. The collar reflected the studio lights. Attaching this image of Kaya with the collar and a different collar, now showing a clip. And Pot replies, for the record, you're saying this plastic piece is reflecting a green light without a diffusion, circling specifically this part because this would be under the collar, which on OTDB's post, it would be this section right here. And OTDB replies, nah, I think it's all speculation and conspiracy theorizing over poor quality footage and its deliberately manufactured drama being pushed to certain irrelevant slop tubers with an axe to grind. Attaching this image of Kaya with a bit of a higher quality image of the collar. You can take of this what you will. Nicholas DeOrio tweets out, while people are hard at work analyzing the forensic evidence of Hassan Piker allegedly shocking his dog, have you even considered there is an active genocide going on? Chocolate is CP, blood diamonds, factory farms, cobalt mines, Gaza Strip, gender-neutral bathrooms, nice try Diddy, Epstein flight logs, animal breeding, industrial complex, American healthcare CEO Drake. Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Akiko, Sal Salad, Coldest Bandito, and Captain Crash Out. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.